So today we are very fortunate that we are having His Grace Shastrakrit Prabhuji to enlighten us on Srimad Bhagavatam today, and I would like to give a small introduction. His Grace Shastrakrit Prabhu was born on May 4th, 1979 in South India to a Vaishnava family. He is a beloved disciple of His Holiness Devamrit Swami, who he met in New Zealand as a young boy. While still a teenager, he quickly absorbed the philosophy and became one of His Holiness Devamrit Swami's first disciples. As a gentle, friendly and personable devotee, he is well known and loved in the Los Angeles New Dwarka community. He is very sweet and kind Vaishnava who is devoted to giving Krishna consciousness to others, especially by distributing Srila Prabhupada books. In fact, he is consistently among the top 5 distributors in Los Angeles, and he is frequently the #1 distributor. In addition to distributing books, he is also regularly requesting to give the morning Srimad Bhagavatam lectures as well as the Sunday feast lectures in Los Angeles. His clear philosophical representation and entertaining storytelling make his classes both absorbing and memorable. When meeting Prabhuji face to face, one will find that he is a warm and wonderful devotee, and one will hear only Krishna Katha coming from his lips. He desires to only discuss matters related to Krishna and to bring everyone he meets to Krishna consciousness. Thus, he is a big believer in making Krishna consciousness accessible to newcomers in a casual and informal settings. This is why he created the Bhakti House in Los Angeles, which is a nice, cozy lodge that sits beside the temple, in which newcomers to this movement can come and discuss spiritual topics in a relaxed atmosphere. Now he has moved to Atlanta. So this is a very short introduction to Prabhuji. So we are very fortunate to have him on the call today. So Prabhuji, are you present on the call?
Yes, Mother. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. So Prabhuji, now I would like to hand over the call to you. Thank you so much for giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mother. So we're reading from the sloka 13 of the 33rd chapter of the 3rd canto. The Sanskrit is Sachapi Tanayok Tena Yoga Desena Yoga Yuk Tasmin Asrama Apide Sarvasvatya Samahita. Srila Prabhupada's translation. As instructed by her son, Devahuti also began to practice Bhakti Yoga in that very ashrama. She practiced Samadhi in the house of Kardama Muni, which was so beautifully decorated with flowers that it was considered the flower crown of the river Saraswati. Purport. Devahuti did not leave her house because it is never recommended for a woman to leave her home. She is dependent. The very example of Devahuti was that when she was not married, she was under the care of her father Swayambhuva Manu, and then Swayambhuva Manu gave her to Kardama Muni in charity. She was under the care of her husband in her youth, and then her son Kapila Muni was born. As soon as her son grew up, her husband left home, and similarly the son, after discharging his duty towards his mother, also left. She could also have left home, but she did not. Rather, she remained at home and began to practice Bhakti Yoga as it was instructed by her great son Kapila Muni. And because of her practice of Bhakti Yoga, the entire home became just like a flower crown on the river Saraswati. Om Ajnanatimurandasya Gananjana Salakaya Sakshun Militameni Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vastaya Budle Srimate Devamrita Swami Niti Name. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vastaya Budle Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Name. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachani Nirvisheshwani Pasyati Adhistami. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Ram. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, as usual, very beautiful commentary purport by Prabhupada, where he is explaining that, Devahuti practiced Bhakti Yoga. Even though Kapila Dev is famous throughout the world for his teachings on Sankhya Yoga, but it's very clearly mentioned in this verse that she practiced Bhakti Yoga and she stayed home. That's actually a very important point to note, because back in the day, in a different yuga, people had so much prowess that people will not stay home to practice spiritual life. They will go out. So Bhakti Yoga, Devahuti practiced at home, and it's mentioned by our acharyas that Bhakti Yoga is not the lowest. Bhakti Yoga is the highest, but it can be practiced by the lowest and the highest. So it's a very advanced, the most advanced process. But also the beauty is it can be practiced by someone who's such a beginner or have no knowledge of spirituality. Like, for example, in the Bhagavad Gita, we see how Krishna spoke, so many chapters of different yoga and meditation systems. But at the end, we all know that Krishna mentions that Bhakti is the highest. Bhakti amam abhijanati yavan yaschami tatvata. Krishna explains that only through bhakti we can actually enter into the mysteries of his understanding. Same thing in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 11th canto. Krishna actually taught Uddhava. There is this famous Uddhava Gita. And again, Krishna talks about so many different processes, but ends by saying that the Bhakti Yoga is the highest. And just to show Uddhava through practical example, Krishna sends Uddhava to Vrindavan. We all know Uddhava was a king. He was so beautiful looking, he was a powerful man, and he was so educated. He was such a scholar in the Vedas. But Krishna wanted to show him another level of bhakti. So even though, Uddhava was so powerful, Krishna sent him to meet this simple cowherd woman in Vrindavan. And as we know, these cowherd women, they were not like, Sanskrit scholars or powerful fighters or this or that. But they were just like simple milkmaids. But when Uddhava witnessed their devotion, he was so humbled. Uddhava was so moved. Uddhava learned so much. And he wanted to fall at their feet and get the dust of the gopis. But he knew that the gopis, being so humble and chaste and, simple people, will not allow him to touch their feet. So he prayed that, let me become a blade of grass somewhere in the outskirts of Braja, where the gopis would accidentally step on my head while walking. What an amazing humility Uddhava attained by seeing the devotion of this simple milkmaid. Same thing Prabhupada explains the wife of the yogic Brahmins. They were so scholars and they were performing all elaborate fire sacrifices and chanting mantras and giving in charity like that. But they missed the essence. The essence of or any activity is sarvahanam achyuteja. That all offerings is there so we can please Vishnu or Krishna. But the yogic Brahmins, when Krishna personally sent his friends to beg for some prasad, some food, they missed the point. What's the use of their Vedic knowledge? But their wives, they were not so scholars, they were just simple housewives. But immediately, as soon as they heard Krishna and Balaram's name, they were willing to renounce everything and run to Krishna Balaram with the prasad. And it's mentioned that many of them, some of them were not allowed to go, so they left their body in samadhi, in meditation of Krishna Balaram, regretting they could not see them face to face. So Krishna taught in the 11th canto to Uddhava all these teachings. And Prabhupada also had this conviction of this process of bhakti yoga. There was one time in the early days of our Hare Krishna movement, some of Prabhupada's disciples, they went to a temple in Vrindavan and they met with the priests, the priest of the temple. The priest of the temple told the devotees, "Oh, you guys are, distributing books and beginning to practice bhakti yoga nicely." So the priest told the devotees, "If you continue like this, next life you can become a priest like me." So the devotees came back and reported that to Prabhupada and said, "Oh, we met with this priest and said like this." And Prabhupada said to the devotees, disciples, that actually he's misunderstood, he's misinformed. If he continues to do nice puja in this life, next life he can be born in our Sankirtan movement. So this is the conviction and the mood of Prabhupada. And it's mentioned that if we want to please Gauranga Mahaprabhu, we must worship Nityananda Prabhu. And if we want to please Nityananda Prabhu, we must worship Gauranga Mahaprabhu. But if we want to please both of them, we should simply chant the Hare Krishna mantra, because that's what Gaur Nitai wanted from us. And it's also mentioned in the famous loka that Krishna says that I'm not in Vaikuntha, I'm not in the heart of the yogis. And Krishna says, wherever my devotees are chanting my glories, there I go and sit. So it's so easy. At home, it can be done, chanting the glories of Krishna, just like you all wonderful devotees you're doing. You're so dedicated to have devotee association, to chant japa, that you're using the technology to come together. This is such a wonderful example. And just by this simple process, Krishna is pleased and we can attain perfection of life. There is one verse in the Padyavali, Rupa Goswami says, he just asks question of different devotees who are not, materially speaking, qualified. So he says that where were the hunter Dharma's piety, Dhruva's maturity, and Gajendra's knowledge? Where was Kubja's beauty? Where was Sudama's wealth? Where was Vidura's noble birth? Where was Ugrasena's chivalrous strength? Lord Madhava is pleased only by devotional service and not by material qualifications. Of course, if we have material qualifications, we can use it in Krishna service, but if we don't, that's also okay. And by doing so, Krishna becomes conquered. Krishna protects us just by this humble devotional service. Prabhupada would often give the example. There were so many yogis. The famous was Vishwamitra Muni. He was performing meditation for 60,000 years. And just by hearing an ankle bell of this heavenly damsel, he became distracted. Even Prabhupada gives the example of Lord Shiva and Brahma. They were all disturbed, they were agitated when there was a provocation. Prabhupada gives the example of the Saubhari Muni. He was meditating inside the waters of Yamuna for 10,000 years. And he just saw little fish was having sexual intercourse, and Saubhari Muni became agitated. So there's so many examples in our scriptures where even great personalities with so much powers, they fell down. But a devotee, Krishna protects them. Even if a devotee is not qualified, still Krishna gives them their mercy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives them their mercy. As long as they're not Mayavadis. Prabhupada mentioned one time that he appeared in this world to defeat the atheistic scientists and Mayavadis. Therefore, I'm sure most of you know, Prabhupada wrote the second part of his pranam mantra himself. Prabhupada wrote, Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desitar. He's come to liberate the world from the impersonalism and voidism. So impersonalism, this Mayavad, is a big impediment for spiritual life. The teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we saw that how he gave mercy to everyone and anyone, but he could not tolerate this Mayavadis. One time, Gopala Bhatt Goswami, he was walking for days and days and days to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. On the way, he met this great devotee of Ram. And this devotee was constantly chanting Ram, 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 like non-stop chanting the names of Ram. And he was even helping carrying the bags of Gopal Bhatt Goswami. And when they reached the place of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Gopal Bhatt Goswami and inquired about his welfare and like this, but he would not look at this face of this Ramdas, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being omniscient, he can tell that this person is chanting the names of Ram constantly, but he wants to become one with Ram at the end, so he completely ignored it. And also during Mahaprakash Leela, this rare occasion where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed his devotees that he is non-different from Krishna, so he sat on the altar of Shiva's Thakur, and he was inviting different devotees and fulfilling all their spiritual desires. But when the devotees asked him, "Oh, you did not invite Mukunda," and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Mukunda, I will not see his face for 10 million births." Because what happened is Mukunda is an amazing Vaishnava. He's so humble, he saw goodness in everywhere. and everyone. So he would go and hear Katha. Wherever there's Bhagavatam going on, he will go and hear. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to teach us a lesson, did not like that. He said, the Mayavadis, they're taking a club and beating on my head, saying, I have no form, I have no head, I have no arms, I have no legs, I have no personality, everything is illusion, my form is illusion. They're taking a club and beating me, and Mukunda goes and sits in their assembly. I will not see his face. But Mukunda, being so humble, when he was given this message, he was dancing in ecstasy. He says, seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is such a rare thing. Watch 10 million birds. It's insignificant. It's just like, like a blink of an eye from the point of view of eternity. So Mukunda didn't mind. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard his attitude, he immediately called him in for darshan. And we all know this story of Prakasananda Saraswati. Prakasananda Saraswati was a great Mayavad guru in Benares. So when he heard Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's glories, he called him for a meeting. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed up, and Prakasananda Saraswati had 60,000 disciples. We can imagine how big he must have been to have like 60,000 disciples. He was very powerful. But anyway, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he went and sat where they wash feet. He conquered them through humility. And also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when they saw the effulgence, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu emanated this effulgence of thousands of sun, and which is the goal of Mayavadis, to merge into the effulgence. They were all like so attracted. So they gave him a nice seat and inquired, you look like Sakshat Narayan himself. But, why are you not reading Vedanta? You're a sannyasi. Why don't you read Vedanta Vedas? Why are you singing and dancing like sentimentalists? But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu closed his ears and chanted Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu. It's an offense to compare an ordinary jiva to the position of Vishnu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke, and he told them that actually you're all very intelligent, but my guru called me a fool. So Guru more murkha deke karila sasan. He says, my guru called me a fool, and he told me that I cannot understand Vedanta, so I should just simply chant Hare Krishna mantra. The amazing is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was chanting Hare Krishna mantra, he would go into all kinds of ecstatic trance. Then he would go back to his guru to verify. Oh, my Guru Maharaj, you gave me this mantra, and I'm chanting and I'm going mad. Is that normal? Is that okay? And the guru was telling Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, oh, my son, you have attained perfection of life. Like this, so, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taking the position of an ordinary person in Kali Yuga, he told him like that, Vedanta is not for this age. We are all fools. We should just simply chant Hare Krishna. Same thing with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was actually, Brihaspati. He's not an ordinary person. He's the priest of the demigods. He appeared in Gaura Leela. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to take darshan of Jagannath, under the request of Mother Sachi, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made his base Jagannath Puri so she can at least hear the news of him, because she lived in a nearby state. So when he came to see Jagannath, as soon as he saw Jagannath, he fainted. It's explained what we should do when we see the deities. It's mentioned the highest thing is to faint when you see the deity. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fainted, and he was so long, and he went into complete samadhi. So the guards, those of us been to Jagannath Puri temple, we know there's so many offerings coming in and out. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very tall. He was very long. So he practically covered the walkway of the Pandas. bringing prasadam, so they thought it was a disturbance and they wanted to throw him, remove him. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, being very educated in the Shastras, he can tell the display of ecstasy by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not ordinary. So he put a little cotton swab on his nostrils, and sure enough, his doubts were confirmed. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is displaying this rare ecstasy that's not human. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya took him to his residence, which was nearby, and he took care of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And still Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was unconscious. Anyways, the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Jagannath temple and they were inquiring, did you see a sannyasi? The guards told him what happened, and they told him to go find him in Sarvabhauma's house. So Sarvabhauma was trying like anything to bring him back to consciousness, bring Mahaprabhu to consciousness. He couldn't. The devotees came, they loudly performed kirtan in the close to the ears of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And immediately Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came back to external consciousness. So it's mentioned by our acharyas, even we are unconscious spiritually. Materially speaking, we may be very advanced, technologically advanced. We have like fast everything. We have so much money, and everybody is, even our leaders are only talking about economy. That's all they can offer to the people. But spiritually speaking, we are like dead. We are unconscious. So when we hear the sound vibration, when we hear the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, then we come back to consciousness. So anyway, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was very concerned. He said, this young boy, he looks so beautiful. He's taken sannyas at the age of 24. Unless I teach him Vedanta, how is he going to remain a sannyasi? So he, out of compassion, out of love for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wanted to teach Vedanta for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard him out, and they discussed for 7 days. Usually when we are having a conversation with someone, we always want to show off immediately how much we know. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just like he conquered Prakasananda Saraswati and his disciples with his humility, same thing. He didn't say anything to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya for 7 days. I mean, if somebody agrees with you, that's nice. Somebody don't agree with you, at least you know their position. But if somebody don't say nothing, then it's confusing. So Sarvabhauma asked him, so what do you think? I've been speaking to you for 7 days. You don't say nothing. Do you understand Vedanta philosophy? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I understand Vedanta philosophy. It's very clear, like bright sunshine. But I don't understand your interpretation of the Vedanta philosophy, which is like a dark cloud that's covering the message of the essence of the Vedanta. So this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave mercy to anyone and everyone, but with these scholars, he was showing us that you can be a great scholar doesn't mean anything. You could be completely missing the point of the Vedanta philosophy. Prabhupada would call them, they're not Vedanta, they're Vedantis. Prabhupada would call them the Vedantis, meaning like they're like toothless. They don't have any teeth, Vedantis. So Prabhupada, in the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, didn't care for people's scholarship, but he was always giving mercy to the innocent. And it's also mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam that, we cannot misinterpret the philosophy, or we cannot try to get mercy through just our intelligence. We cannot figure out how to get the mercy on our own, because anything other than bhakti is very risky, like the example of King Nirga. King Nirga, it's mentioned that, he's very famous, like Karna and Sibi and like that, in terms of giving charity. It's mentioned that just like you cannot count the grains of sand in the beach, similarly we can never count how much charity King Nirga has given. But what happened was he was trying to get pious credits on his own. So he gave 10,000 cows to one Brahmana, and he gave 10,000 cows in charity to another Brahmana. And they both were happy. But then one of the cows from one of the herds of the Brahmana ran into the other Brahmana's herds of cows. So the Brahmana came and complained to Nirga. Said, I lost one of my cows. It ran into the other Brahmana's cows. So King Nirga said, no problem, I can give you another 10,000 cows, just to please you. And the Brahmana said, no, I don't care for your 10,000 cows. I want my cow back. So King Nirga went to the other Brahmana, who now has the 10,001 cows, and said, please give this cow back. I can give you another 10,000. He said, no, I won't. So this way they were fighting back and forth. So the Brahmana that lost the one cow became very disturbed, very disappointed, and he cursed him. He was very dissatisfied. So when King Nirga, at the end of his life, he had to see Yamaraj, see how risky this world is. It's crazy. So Yamaraj said to him, King Nirga, I see from your activities that you have given so much in charity that there's no end to how much you're going to enjoy. But I do see a curse of this Brahmana, which means you have to take birth as a lizard. So Yamaraj asked him, would you like to become a lizard first and enjoy later, or you want to enjoy first and become a lizard later? See how crazy this material world is. No matter who we are, it's always some catch there. Nobody can completely be happy in this world. There's always a situation where nobody is fully happy. Anyway, we all know the story. So even on our own, we cannot try to become happy in this world. We need to surrender to Krishna. So whether we are yogis or jnanis or powerful kshatriyas, no matter who we are, everybody is missing the point. Missing the point of human form of life. It's very rare. On the other hand, even if it's a simple housewife who is not contaminated by Mayavad philosophy, who's not proud of her scholarship, who's not proud of this and that, like Queen Kunti prayed, Janmaiswarya Sutta Sri Bir. As long as we're not proud, we're doing humble service, we can get mercy. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a little boy, Nimai, he was actually eating dirt. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mother, Sachi Devi, saw him and said, Nimai, why are you eating dirt? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was speaking Mayavad philosophy. It was very cute. He said, oh, what's the difference? The grains we eat also comes from dirt, and I'm also eating the same dirt, so it's all the same thing. So Sachi Mata explained that, when you eat the dirt in the form of grains, you get nourishment, you get energy. But if you eat dirt directly, you will get sick. So she explained to him, it's not all the same. So there is a difference. So Prabhupada explains how, even though she was just like a mother, she's just a housewife, she had such a clear understanding of the philosophy. So she was such an amazing, intelligent woman. And we know the famous example of Holavecha Sridhar. He was actually a simple person that was selling like bananas and banana leaves and banana stem and banana flower and like this. But because he was such an amazing devotee, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually called him the wealthiest person, even though he was so poor. He was so poor, it says there was big holes in his roof, and he could hardly afford a nice meal or clothes. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of his love and affection, would always go to tease him and play with him. And Mahaprabhu drank from the lota. There was an iron lota with so many holes and full of rust. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of bhakti, he went and drank water from there and told all the devotees, Holavecha Sridhar is the richest man. In terms of what Mahaprabhu was referring to was in terms of bhakti. Sometimes Mahaprabhu would tell, the devotees would invite him for eating. And Mahaprabhu would say, I would only go to the homes of whoever possessing 1 lakh. And the devotees would think, we don't have 1 lakh gold coins, we are poor. Mahaprabhu was referring to whoever chant 1 lakh names a day. So this way he was giving mercy to whoever was rich in terms of their bhakti. And we know this pastime, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he went to Srirangam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw this one Brahmana who was illiterate. He had this Gita upside down, but he was trying to read and he had tears in his eyes. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everybody was making fun of him, all the great scholars there, Sanskrit scholars in the Srirangam temple. But he did not care. But Mahaprabhu went to him and asked him, my dear Brahmana, it appears you cannot read the book because you have it upside down, but I can see that you're crying in tears of ecstasy. What's going on? So the Brahmana told him, my guru at the time of initiation told me I should read the Gita every day. And the amazing thing is the guru knew he cannot read. Sometimes we think, oh, my guru don't understand me, but the guru knew that he cannot read. So still he gave him the instruction. The Brahman was just simply trying, just like Prabhupada. He said his guru has given him a mission that's, almost impossible, but because he tried, he was successful by the spiritual potency. Prabhupada did the impossible. Only the Brahmana was trying to read, and just by trying to, follow the orders of his guru, what happened was Krishna and Arjuna was appearing on the pages of the Gita. And when this Brahmana saw that Krishna has become the chariot driver of Arjuna, he became so moved. The Brahmana started crying. How kind is Krishna? Who is Krishna? The Sarvaisvarya Purnam is the source of everything. And he's become the simple, humble, chariot driver of Arjuna on the battlefield. And the warriors usually kick the chariot drivers to give directions. And Krishna was brushing the horses and giving them water. He was taking such a menial position. And when he saw this, the Brahmana was crying. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced him and said, you're actually the real reader of the Bhagavad Gita. Even though he was not a great scholar, the essence was revealed to him because he was a bhakti yogi. And there was so many other examples we can give of the Vasudeva. There was Vasudeva leper. He had advanced stages of leprosy because he was such an amazing devotee. Even though there were worms living in his body, he would pick up any worm that would fall and put it back in the exact same place. Because a devotee is full of compassion. We don't need to preach to a devotee to be vegetarian. Is naturally compassionate. And there was another devotee called Vasudeva Dutt, and he prayed for all living beings. He said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Mahaprabhu asked him what benediction he would like, he said to Mahaprabhu, so many Jivatmas are stuck in this material creation because of their karma. Please transfer all their sins on my head, and I can go to hell forever, and they can all be liberated. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced him and cried and said, your compassion, humility is breaking my heart. And he said, it's no surprising for me because you're incarnation of Prahlad Maharaj. So like this, there's so much examples given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Bhagavad, how bhakti yogis, they can purchase Krishna through the simple process of Shravanam Kirtanam. And Prabhupada, out of the 64 items of bhakti, Prabhupada has given us 5 main important principles like devotee association, worshipping Tulsi, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, chanting the holy names, and living in a holy place. Like this, if we just do these activities, we will be successful. And Prabhupada explained a bhakti yogi does not fall down. Or even if he falls down, there's no loss because Krishna will protect him like he protected Bharat Maharaj and so many. And Haridas Thakur was personally tested by Maya Devi herself. He was tested by prostitutes. He was tested by so many envious people. But he was not disturbed. He did not fall down. Even the great yogis and munis and rishis and kings, they all fell down. But Haridas Thakur was just chanting the holy name. He did not fall down. So it's very, very important for us to read Chaitanya Charitamrita. Very important for us to read Bhagavatam because that's where we get our strength, we get our nourishment, because there are so many copies of the Gita, so many copies of Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita available. But Prabhupada's books have special potency to nourish our intelligence, nourish our heart. And just by reading them, we'll feel so inspired to do the right thing. And Prabhupada wanted every home to have a set of all of his books. He stayed up. He would just sleep 2 hours. He was writing these books. And he wanted every respectable lady and gentleman to have a complete set of his books. So I'm sure you're all wonderful devotees. You probably have the books. But if any of you don't have Srimad Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita, we humbly beg you to get a set and keep it in your home. And it makes your whole home a holy place. Granth, especially when you're having Srila Prabhupada books in your home, brings all auspiciousness. We'll get devotion. We'll get so much blessing. So I wanted to conclude saying, if any of you are interested in receiving set of Bhagavatam Chaitanya Charitamrita, you can please let me know. I'll be happy to ship it to you for a subsidized price. So I'll stop here. If any of you great souls have anything to add or any questions, we can discuss next few minutes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavata Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru Maharaj ki Jai. Very, very wonderful class, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. And,
yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I saw your video about the book distribution, and it was really amazing. So maybe next time we can have your class about the book distribution, like how to distribute books and how to people. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. And I don't have questions for today's class. So I request all the devotees, they have any questions or comments, they can go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Very nice class, Prabhuji, and very nice tips you have given. Just regarding the book distribution, if in Western countries, in US, you are giving books or Bhagavad Gita to your American friends or your clients, American clients. So first question is they don't have so much faith and they don't know what is this book, and they sometimes I have fear means they might not be very careful, or they might be opponent to the book. So should we give them or should not we give them? And second, should we ask some donation or just gift them?
Yes, Mataji, like when Prabhupada was asked, this point that, people are throwing the books, because we were distributing like so many books, especially in the 70s. And Prabhupada said, people are throwing the Gitas in the trash, but, Kali Yuga, people are throwing their own babies in the trash. So this is Kali Yuga, so this is expected. But because our Acharya, our Guru, wanted us to distribute, so, we should simply distribute, and we shouldn't think in a material sense that they will not understand, because, so many devotees have come from reading Prabhupada's books from Western countries, so we have practical examples how it's happening. And also, we have to learn how to present these books. It's also a responsibility. Just like, we all living in the Western country, we come here, we learn how to get a job, or how to attend the interview, or what to say to the locals, how to live in this country, how to drive in this country, how to speak English, we're learning so many things so we can be comfortable, we can earn money. Similarly, we should also learn the art gradually, how to present these books, because these books are very attractive. And once we know how to present these books, like for example, my Guru Maharaj, Devamrita Maharaj, has written this book called Hiding in Unnatural Happiness. And I always give that book along with Prabhupada books, and I tell them, this Hiding in Unnatural Happiness is like high school, and Gita is like university. So when you read this book, you will be ready for the Gita like that, because my Guru writes in a way that the local people can fully appreciate his message. He writes especially for like Americans and kids growing up in America, even Indian kids. So like this, we always have to think about ways and means to distribute. If we're thinking about it, then Krishna will give us the intelligence. But we cannot worry about what happens after that. We should simply just distribute and let Prabhupada and Krishna and the Super Soul inspire these people to read. At least they will have the book. And many times when they take a book, they won't read it. They will keep it in their home or give it away, or somebody else will read it. It's like I received a book, and one of my friends, one of my roommates, he bought the books, but he didn't read the books, so he gave it to me. So I didn't pay anything in a sense, but I paid my whole life to ISKCON. So if possible, we can suggest that people give some donation. But if it's going to create an uncomfortable situation, then, you can just gift it to them. So whatever works somehow or other, the books has to go out. That's the main thing. All the details is secondary, but somehow we have to get the books distributed. That's the point.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Very well.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
हरे कृष्णा, दंडवत प्रणाम, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, all भक्त वैष्णव वृंद की जय. Prabhuji, very, very wonderful class and very touching. We're glad to have your association, and thank you very much for your wonderful association, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for your wonderful class, Prabhuji, and you explained so nicely today's words. So, if no one has any question or comments, we can end now. And thank you very much, Prabhuji, and we look forward for your more association.
Sure, Mataji. Thank you.
Let's pay our obeisances to Prabhuji Vancha Kalpatarubheshya Kripa.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice class you have given and explained very nicely. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for taking class. Hare Krishna.
Hare